So in my previous video, I explained why I made the transition after 2 years of switching from 90% retail arbitrage, a little OA, to now 90% OA, a little retail arbitrage. And so naturally, I thought it was fitting to give you an update. I've been doing OA primarily for the last 3+ months. I'm gonna break down the numbers, how I got started sourcing when I was starting at a standstill, my methods of sourcing, and the pros and cons. So really just basically a complete snapshot of what I've experienced switching from RA to OA over the last 3 months. And I think this is going to provide a lot of value, as I think it's a natural transition and progression for most Amazon sellers going from RA to OA. Certainly not all go that path, but I do think it's a common one. So let's go over the numbers first, okay? I'm always an open book with my numbers, never to brag or to flex, just to be an open book and to provide value and help others. So every month I break down my profit and loss for the previous month, so that's nothing new. In 2021, my first full calendar year, I did about $300,000 in total sales, okay? Of which about $75,000 was profit. So if you don't know about Amazon and margins and everything, that's really good. That's like a 25% profit margin. I mean, in my first full calendar year, very happy with that, okay? So I was doing about $25,000 a month in sales. And in order to get there, I was spending between 10 and let's call it 12 on average $1,000 in inventory, okay? So fast forward to OA. Now I do about $45,000 to $50,000 on average in my first 3 months with OA. My profit margin has gone down to about 19–20%, and I know that doesn't sound drastic, but it kind of is at those numbers. Not drastic, but certainly it basically means that just because my sales have doubled, my profit is certainly not doubled either, and that's to be expected. With RA, I would spend $1 in hopes of making $1 profit. Now with OA, I spend $1 in hopes of making like 40 cents profit. So it's just a different game. In order to achieve my, let's call it $50,000 in sales, I have to currently spend about high 20s to low 30s in thousands of dollars. So that's really, really important, okay? The biggest thing is, the takeaway is this. RA is great for getting bang for your buck. If you're on a budget or have a set amount, you can't beat the return on investment that you can get with RA from my experience. However, if you have the capital, like I did, I wasn't so concerned about my profit margin. I was concerned about my overall profit, and that is what has gone up. And also I can still really add to that, whereas in RA, I was kind of getting capped out to a certain level, okay? So overall, I'm at 50. I think by the end of the year, I hope to get to 6 figures a month in sales. Every single day that I do this, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface and prioritizing and learning and gonna get a prep center and things like that. So I certainly got a taste for it, and I really do enjoy OA. In a nutshell with the numbers, sales go up, yes. The budget, yes, has to also go up. Your profit margin goes down, but your profit also goes up in addition to all the other benefits like getting to do this from anywhere in the world, right? So that's my 2 cents on the numbers. How did I get the ball rolling? I really didn't have OA experience. I mean, I dabbled with it, and when I was doing RA and came across really scarce items, I would naturally look for them online, but I just dove into it. Just head on. I would wake up super early and chip away and just start with what I knew. Some brands, some categories. One light bulb here on this brand, another light bulb here on this site, and you get familiar with sales and discount codes and cashbacks and all things of that nature, and just one thing leads to another. The biggest thing I'll give myself credit for is just taking action, not getting frustrated, just committing to X amount each day, and just sticking to it. There's really no secret. I just took action as far as the OA. And the sources that I did, or excuse me, the methods I used to do OA sourcing, I started with what I knew from RA, and then everything that spun off from there. Then also I did reverse sourcing. That's also known as storefront stocking, where you look at other Amazon sellers' storefronts, you kind of filter out ones that you think know what they're doing, and then you try to find the products that they're selling, because there's a good chance if they're selling them, they're making profit, and that means that you probably have access to those same items if you can find it and know what you're doing. I also do manual sourcing. That's literally just going to a site that maybe has a good deal, or why I want to focus on a new brand, and I'm just going item by item by item, typing in the keywords to Inventory Lab and seeing what listings appear. And I mean, that's really it. That's the gist of it. Manual sourcing, reverse sourcing. I've just started talking to some other Amazon sellers, and I think that can be incredibly beneficial. I know it can be, but just one step at a time. And it's this layering process. You learn this store and this brand, then this store, then this store, and it's not like you lose out on everything that's come before it. You just continue to add to your database, basically. Lastly, I want to give you some quick pros and cons, okay? Let me give you the cons of OA. Straight up, it can be boring. I'm not someone that loves being inside all day. I'm extroverted, I like getting out. You have to be on a computer for hours on end. So make no mistakes about it. I'm not complaining, but I'm just keeping it real. It's a little boring. I already mentioned this earlier. It takes a lot more capital to see the same profit as you would relative to retail arbitrage. I explained why. With retail arbitrage, again, when you're sourcing, you're buying products from a store that are maybe specific just to that store or just that clearance section of that store. Hard to get items that not many other people have access to. Anytime you're buying something online, even if you know what you're doing, you're still competing with the globe, right? So that only makes sense. So in turn, you are gonna need more capital. And to take it one step further, because I did it cold turkey, I went from spending like 12 grand a month on retail arbitrage to like 30. So basically I had another $18,000 that is now tied up in inventory. So you have to be prepared for that. And if not, you want to do it very incrementally. All right. Another thing, cons, a lot of canceled orders. That's just something you learn as you go. You know, you get excited, you buy too much, too frequently, you only know so many stores. They'll cancel your orders and flag you. With retail arbitrage, that almost never happens because you have the products in your cart in live time, right? And then I already mentioned this too, but you are going to have a lower profit margin. Like anything, the more and more you scale, it's very unrealistic to continue at such great profit margins. RA has the best profit margins. OA is really good too, but it takes a lot more money to get there. But again, I'm more concerned about profit, not profit margin, okay? Some people get caught up in that for some reason. Everyone has different goals. Yes, profit margin can help dictate how good of buys you're making, but if you know what you're doing, going from 25 to 20%, but you're making extra thousands and thousands of dollars, I'll take that all day long. As far as the pros go, schedule. You're limited to nothing. 24/7, 365 is the internet, so you can buy things anytime that fits your schedule. Absolutely doable to do this on the side, nights, weekends, etc. Not so much with retail arbitrage. I don't want to forget anything, just want to peek here. I mentioned not tied to geography. Like I mentioned, I was from South Florida, now I'm in Asheville. I was able to move and still make money doing online arbitrage because, again, power of the internet. You're not tied to anywhere, and if you're someone that wants to be a digital nomad or travel or move, it's a lot more challenging with retail arbitrage. Of course, it's still possible, but if I just order things on my computer, have them sent to a prep center or even my home, and I can get back to them later, whatever the case may be. All right, so you're not tied to geography. I know this is a really small thing, but with retail arbitrage, clearance stuff, ripping off the stickers, the prep and the pack on those is the worst, all right? It's the absolute worst. I don't miss having to scrape off stickers by any means. And then lastly, the pros, the sky's the limit as far as profit goes. As long as you have the capital and you know what you're doing, you can just keep scaling and keep scaling and keep scaling. And again, retail arbitrage, you're kind of capped. So that's all I got for you guys today. That's my update in a nutshell, why I've done it and everything else in between. I am continuing to scale. I'm continuing to grow. I am bullish on online arbitrage. I look forward to dabbling with the prep center in the relatively near future and going from there. I think RA is an awesome place to start. I really do. You can't beat the return on investment. You can't beat the margin. Learn the systems, make the mistakes, learn how to create shipments and prep and pack and everything by doing RA. I think it's so easy to be actionable that way that it gets you going instead of having excuses on delaying it, right? Because OA does take a little bit of learning. RA, you can literally drive to a store or scan your house right now. All right, so as always, my biggest piece of advice is just to take action and figure it out as you go. There's so much opportunity out there. There are so many resources and people willing to help you. Nobody has not already experienced any hurdle that you may face yourself. So I'm Jonathan. This is Duke Does Amazon. Thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions, comments, topics, put them below. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.